Hello and welcome to my Blender to Unity Tower Defense game tutorial, and in this part we'll finish off adding the Hex laser gun turret. So let's get started. Okay, firstly apologies for taking so long to create this video. I had been playing around with the particle systems for quite a while now, trying to get a really cool looking laser effect, and I was getting close, but what I found was that I couldn't get it to kind of stick to the enemy objects without shooting past them or not getting there quickly enough, and oh my goodness. Now I did look at paid options as well, and there are some brilliant ones on the Unity Asset Store. I highly recommend you go and take a look. I couldn't find any decent free ones, but there seem to be some very good ones for sort of $5 and stuff like that. So if you were seriously thinking about marketing something like this, you might want to have a look at those. I've tried to keep it free, so I've ended up using what's called a line renderer, and I'll come on to that in a moment. What you'll need to do is you'll need to drag the Hex laser turret from the prefabs that we created and just drag that onto the scene. Alright, I've already done that here. In fact, I'm going to talk you through what I've done rather than do it piece by piece, because I'll end up doing stuff wrong. You can see there's a sound clip attached to it and things like that. I'll come on to that in a moment. So I've added the Hex laser turret. These pieces will already be there for you because we created them in a previous tutorial. And if we go to the Hex laser gun game object, then you'll see that I've added a couple of things. I've added a rigid body here and a sphere collider. Alright. If they're not there already, please do add them. You just need to make sure that you uncheck use gravity on the rigid body, otherwise that'll just sink down through the ground. And on the sphere collider, you just need to grab the y-axis so that the I'm going to call that the equator. I don't know, the middle point there. I'm sure there's a name for it. Please put it in the comments. Is near the ground, and the radius is 4. All right. Now, like I said, I ended up not using a particle system. I ended up using a line renderer, and this is it here. Well, that will be disabled and re-enabled when we're on targeting the actual object. But for now, I've just put it out there just to show you what it looks like. It's a line. It's all it is. I ended up adding a material which was a white line with a little bit of alpha either side. I will provide that in a Unity download package for you guys to have a play around with. Set it to red color. You need to make sure that the world space is unchecked. Okay, so that means that it'll follow around local to this Hex laser gun, and just position it roughly not roughly, exactly actually. Position it so that it's poking out just at the front of the barrel of the laser gun. Alright, and that will be our laser gun there, because what we'll need to do is we'll actually, in the script, we'll adjust the length of that so that it's the distance between the laser gun and the enemy object, which I'll come on to in a moment. And finally, I did an audio source. Again, I had a little look around. I went to FreeSFX. I haven't got the website up now, but I went to freesfx.com. I'll provide a link to that in the comments. They're brilliant. They've got loads and loads of stuff for free. You just need to make sure that you credit them in any work that you do. Again, if you're not making any money out of it, it's not going to be a huge deal. But if you are making money out of it, I would definitely check their end user license agreement and make sure that you're not breaking or breaching any rules there. Otherwise, you're going to have a nasty bill on your hands and some horrible calls. So I've used that, and like I say, I've edited it a little bit just so that it's a bit shorter. And a little bit more whiny. Okay, and those are the pieces added. Now, because I've added the sphere collider and the rigid body, it means I can use that script that we created for the machine gun. We used the machine gun targeting system, which was actually a subclass of turret targeting system. So what I did was I created a laser gun targeting system. Okay, again, which is a subclass of turret targeting system. All right, so let's just take a quick look at that. I'll come up to laser gun to mono develop here. Alright, now so we've got a couple of things. You saw the line renderer there that I created. One thing I mention the size of the line renderer? I don't know if I did. I had to put it down to about 0.2. There we go, start width and end width. You can by all means change these colours. I think I tweaked the alpha at the end as well, so it's a little bit darker. I don't know why I did that. I was just playing around with it. But by all means, yeah, set the start width and end width to 0.2. Alright, so otherwise if it's 1, I'll show you, it's pretty big if you do 1. That's a bit too fat, isn't it? So just do 0.2 or whatever you like. I've gone for 0.2. Let's take a look at laser gun targeting system. We need to know what our line renderer is, and we need to know what our laser sound is. All right, and I've added both of those in here, the audio source to the actual Hex laser gun, so it can find them very easily. But it's just using a simple get component calls. and we call the upper class.start, very similar to what we do in the machine gun turret. All right, and let's just have a quick look at the start here. That just sets up our arrays and sets it to idle. All right. So for maybe fire, what we need to do really is just make sure that the line renderer distance is the distance from the barrel of the laser gun to the target, and I had to add a little bit extra. I think I had to do that because it's poking out of the front. I'm not quite sure. You need to tweak that value. Perhaps even put it in a variable and just see if you can adjust it. All right, and the usual rule for the enemy health, but exactly the same as targeting system. All right, we'll put the damage per second in a moment into the script, and when it's engaged, what I did was I had to zero out the length of the laser gun of the laser. Otherwise, it had this really long line. So by setting it to 0, there you're saying make the line 0. Position 1, just so we're clear. You can set multiple positions on a line renderer. Where's it gone? Here we go. You can see these ones here. So that's the start position on the Z, and this one here is how far it goes out. So if I did 5 there, you'll see it becomes a lot longer. So I'm setting element 1 to 0. All right. So basically no length at all. All right. And I enabled the line renderer, and I set the laser sound to enabled. All right. And then the disengage target, I just disabled the both of them. And that is all I did. I'll just show that to you now. Let's just have a quick look. Hopefully it's not too noisy. There we go, you can see it, and it's doing a good job positioning itself. Because the damage per second is so strong, it's not having to move much, is it? Let's just stop that. Let's make the damage per second a little lighter. Let's make that 20 or 25, something, I don't know, not 256, 25, and that'll give it a bit more. But it'll take a bit longer to kill, won't it? Let's have a little look. In fact, will it even do it in time? Let's find out. Just about. Yeah, it's not going to do it. I think these ones are going to get away, aren't they? That's cool. We can play around with those values later on when we come into actually, the meat of the game and start creating the levels for these turrets, so that you can actually level them up and power them in different ways. Good, good. So I'm sorry that I couldn't come up with a amazing looking particle system. I maybe give you a little project to do that. I would love to see what you can create. I've had no success whatsoever. I could show you all my failed attempts, but it would just amuse you too much. So I will leave it there. I hope that all made sense, guys. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Any issues, let me know. I will do my best to respond to them very, very quickly. I appreciate I've kind of whistled through this. This has looked a lot easier than the time I've spent on it, but I thought I'd give you the abridged version rather than make you suffer my pain. So thank you for watching. Look forward to seeing you next time. Bye bye.